you think about iOS as Apple's mobile operating system, there's this term and impression used with Apple known as the ecosystem or the walled garden. And you know, as their OS, devices that work well together, and that's pretty much one of the things that without one of their devices and products not working at all, it's just completely redundant without the operating system. Now, for example, look at the Apple Watch. It needs an iPhone with iOS to work, but the dependency on iOS itself, somehow, you know, for me, it just feels like that's something that's region and country dependent. As personally, if you look in the UK and in Europe, users, I feel like a bit more flexible to OS device change from iOS to Android and from Android to iOS, vice versa. But honestly, for those that swear by iOS, and it's something that's pretty much there where they don't want to change, I have this strange analogy on how they see iOS as pretty much what I think is their Goldilocks OS. Now, the analogy I have is quite unique, but it's kind of common and it will make sense once I go through it. I almost see having iOS as being part of a family that pretty much, if you decide to leave or divorce, usually might cause more problems than it may actually be worth. All depends. Yep. Without overselling it and making it seem like it's impossible to switch from iOS to other operating systems, or it's a bad thing if you do, I'll try and keep it simple and straightforward. First, try and see iOS itself like the house or the home of the family, which pretty much holds everything and everyone in place. Now, usually the reasons people give when not moving over from iOS to another operating system is due to things like the usual suspects, and we'll go through them, like iMessage, like FaceTime, like iCloud, features like AirDrop, handoff, syncing to other devices, and also to top it all off, devices, give an example, like the Apple Watch that need iOS for it to work full stop. But let's think about it. Why is that? Well, let me describe iMessage almost as if it's like the child that needs and requires the most attention. Why honestly I say that is, if you look at Apple's native messaging system, this app takes up the most amount of people's time, and it's all really down to the convenience of how they feel it natively integrates them and connects them to other people that are important in their life, aka bring in the green bubble and the blue bubble jokes, and that's how people see it. And if you look at the blue bubble, that is the indication that lets you know that someone else is on iOS and iPhone, and opens up a wider range of free messaging via the web that pretty much unlocks things from group messages, the type of multimedia that you can post through, and that's something you experience on iOS with iMessage. Now, personally, it's not that important to me. I've always preferred the cross-platform nature of third-party messaging apps like WhatsApp, but man, honestly, I've got family that live in USA, I've got family that live in Canada and parts of the world that swear by iMessage. They don't even know what WhatsApp is at most of the time. Next is FaceTime. That can be compared to pretty much being the most talented, if you can say that, child or person in the family. If that kind of makes sense, I'll kind of break it down. Well, it's not always an app you use all the time and every day, but for those special occasions or people that mean the most to you in your life, it's obviously linked through your Apple account and your telephone number. Again, you're natively able to have HD video calls with anyone in the world via the web at any time, free of charge, and it opens up many possibilities that's native to it. Now, let's come back to reality again. Video calls on a mobile phone are nothing new to this world. Let's be frank, in the modern day smartphone world, Apple were far from first to do it. But let's be reminded again, proving that first doesn't matter in most cases nowadays. To them, it's all about doing it right and doing it best. And FaceTime honestly proved to be one of the most popular and one of the favorite reasons why people stay on iOS, even if the usage of FaceTime, it's very occasional. Then comes iCloud, which, funny enough, if I describe iCloud, I kind of see it more like the protective older child of the family, or, you know, let me up here, I think I see it more as the parent. The benefits of it don't really scream to the front as, hey, this is the most exciting thing, you know, compared to the native apps that we talked about like FaceTime and iMessage. But It's the feature and the service that backs up and protects all of your accounts and everything across the whole entire OS, even as much as your home screen layout, and even goes as far as some third-party apps like even WhatsApp need an iCloud to back up the previous conversations that you want to reload. But it does come at a penalty though. Monthly payment. You've got to pay a decent monthly payment to have storage that is even anywhere near considerable as usable. And I guess because of that, it is kind of more down to the parents, because the parents are the ones that usually in the house, they pay the rent and they pay the mortgage. So yeah, I see iCloud more as the parent. Now there's more to go into, and especially if you look at the announcement of iOS 14, but let's pause there, not going into that. I've already done coverage on the WWDC conference of 2020, so I'll have that linked in the description below and also in the cards above. Give that a watch, and then obviously you can continue with this as well. But with links to things like hardware, such as the Apple Watch, and which is something that again needs an iPhone to work. Even if you're looking at the LTE model, period, the constant improvement to things like AirPods, and also, although that is a universal Bluetooth device, these are the things that suck people into using iOS devices, because they make it so cohesive and even more convenient over time to make it enjoyable and gives an incentive to really have an iOS device. Let me give you an example, even into third party, right? Look at WhatsApp, right? Good luck trying to back up and transfer all your previous messages on WhatsApp from iOS to Android. Yeah, I'll wait. It's near enough impossible. And then anyone that can really do it, man, you're gonna have to go through some loops, vice versa the other way around. And I think this is just pretty much down to Apple that has closed the door to it, and WhatsApp's hands are tied behind their back. There's not much you can do. That's another lock-in, and that's a third-party app that should have the ability to do it. Honestly, in my times, right, I've seen people actually genuinely make the switch from Android to iOS, and because of these weird limitations, they come running straight back to iOS. At times, it's very easy, obviously, for us enthusiasts to see iOS as a catch-up based OS. And honestly, it's sometimes a case where it takes ages to bring features that we've been having on competition OS for years. And it's something that, you know, it can make it a pain to use iOS. But honestly, for a lot of people, I guess iOS is more about being their Goldilocks operating system, where it's not about having everything at once, but it's about having all the necessary things done just right. As always, man, that's it for me. You know me, I like to have fun with these discussions. They come in my head and I think, you know what, let me do an a cappella video so we can, again, have this discussion. Let me know where you are in the world. Let me understand a bit more of how people see different operating systems in the world and why they depend on them. Are they free to switch? Is it something like they're deep tied linked in where it's very difficult to do? Let me know. Let's have the discussion. And yep, Ben from Lover of Tech, you know what to do. If you enjoyed videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and also hit that notification bell so you're part of Team TLS, the Tech Lover Squad, so you do not miss future videos that are posted. Make sure you like, share, stay subscribed. I hope you guys are safe during this time. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.